Now, in terms of laying out your design and color, one of the things that we see clubs using a lot is tables to basically segment out an email, make things look neat. Because we don't have the ability to use the tab key like we do in Word and Excel and a lot of other programs, we'll use tables to sort of line up text and content that way. You'll see in this Halloween email, I've actually used a table so I can do color at sort of every other item here. So that's something that's an option as well. You do want to be careful with tables, though, in two ways. First, you want to watch the width. And I think it's become a lot more important lately as we're sending emails out to members. And everybody these days has the smartphones, the iPhone, the BlackBerry, Windows mobile phones, etc. And those screen displays can't, you want to make sure that your email really, is able to display on those screens just as neatly as a computer monitor.
So what's an ideal width?
The ideal width is 600 pixels. So if you can keep these tables 600 pixels or less, that's going to pretty much guarantee it's going to look clean on all of those smartphones. And that also works really well as a standard for computers as well. I'll give you an example. I have a grandparent who has a computer circa 1987, and sure enough, the monitor is just really small. The resolution just isn't what contemporary computers are, but 600 pixels looks very neat on that older computer screen. So it's really a good solid width for really all computers and sort of the iPhones, smartphones that are out today.
Okay, good.
For, again, thinking about the iPhone, thinking about those smaller monitors, really helps to left align your content because they don't have to scroll over, they don't have to, when they switch the view, it's pretty clean. So as opposed to taking something like this and centering it, it's a lot easier to read on those smaller screens if you left align the content, which is normal. That's how we do most documents as well.
Okay.
Other tips that you might want to consider, obviously you want to be somewhat considerate of the length of your content, the size of your photos, really for two reasons. One, we want to obviously put as much information in our emails as possible without it being so long that members don't read it all. And you'll see for the most part a lot of sort of teaser-style emails being used. As an example, we'll put in a line like, photos from the most recent wine dinner are now available. Click here to view on our website. So instead, and then we'll do something like, the new board of directors has been elected. Click here to view our new board and bio and photo information on them. So instead of putting all the details of here's the list of our board of directors and here's all of their pictures and here's when they're starting, we can put all that on the website and then put a little teaser and point them there. One, it keeps our emails pretty short, pretty brief. They're guaranteed that everybody's going to read the few lines. And then second, we also can track those hits, those page views and statistics. So we can see how many people are going to that board of directors page on our website. So it really has a lot of value for seeing, well, how successful are these emails, on the website. And normally, because you can track that on even a daily, hourly, minute basis, you can see, hey, I sent this email on Monday, and look at all the traffic on our website Monday and Tuesday, and sure enough, they're going to the photo gallery and they're going to the board of directors page. So having those sort of teaser content is just, I think, a more contemporary way of sending information. Also, in terms of pictures, we run into a lot of issues where we'll have customers load pictures to a template and then resize them. Works very well for the web, not always for email. Depending on email programs, sometimes it just doesn't come over correctly. And I'll show you an example of what I mean. I've selected the image manager, and the list of images is going to come up. And let's say I'm going to pick one at random. We're going to pick this picture of Kate Hudson and put it in our email. Well, sure enough, I add it, and it's huge. I definitely don't want my picture to be this big. In the web, and even here in this editor tool, I can right-click on a picture and change the properties so that it's smaller. The thing to remember is when this email is received by the person, the picture loads large and then has to be sized down. So it's a little bit slower to load. Sometimes it can cause issues. So instead of changing the size here, it's better to actually change the size of the image, have it sort of pre-sized for the email so that it just loads as is. It's a smaller file, smaller reference. It's a lot cleaner. And the way that we might edit an image like that, we'll simply click on the image manager here. I could choose my Kate Hudson picture and then go to the image editor. Again, it's going to come up in a little pop-up window here, and it'll give me the option to change the width and the height of the actual picture in my box here. So I'm going to change the width to be 100, let's say.
So what's ideal, or is there such a thing?
You know, I tend to use a lot of thumbnails for emails because
Okay.
As you know, most clubs are provided that thumbnail gallery of sort of stock pictures that ClubSoft offers.
Right.
And the width is 100 pixels. You know, that's usually what I use, but I would say they can really be as big as maybe 300 to 325 pixels. Because again, that's half the width of your email. If your email is about 600 pixels wide and a picture's 300, that's, you know, half the width of it is just the picture. So, you know, 100 is what I recommend. I'd say 300 as the largest.
Okay.
And then you can either save a new file, so I can save like Kate Hudson small, or I can just overwrite the picture that I have. That's fine. All right, so very simple. But once you have a fairly decent sized picture, and look, even this Kate Hudson picture, it's 80 kilobytes versus something that's smaller, it's 17 or 7 kilobytes. So we can do things that are a little bit more size appropriate. It's going to make those emails load faster and not have that size up and down requirement when they open them up. Very simple to do. Other things to be conscious of, you know, particularly for emails, we do a lot of copy and paste. I know I do. You really have to be conscious because there are so many things that get pasted in the background from Publisher or from Word that can cause problems in email delivery. And it may look great in one email program, but then in another it doesn't. If you strictly use the editor tool, it's going to come across clean. It's going to be the way that it is. One thing that I often do just to make sure that everything's clean, if I'm copying and pasting something from Word, I'll opt to just copy it. I'm actually going to just copy it from here. And then what I'll do is I'll open up a program like Notepad, something like that, and then I'll paste it so it strips all of the formatting from it. And then when I paste it into my editor tool, it's going to assume whatever formatting I have there. It doesn't have any overlap. So you may lose a little bit of formatting from Word, but at least you don't have to type over the content. A couple of things that I've noticed, in particular for one of your emails that you recently sent, it looked like it was copied over from some other program, and it had these little span ID equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Didn't know what it meant. It probably meant something for that program. It might have meant, hey, this font is supposed to be hot pink size 20. But when you move it to another program, we don't know what it means. So everything's formatted. It looks beautifully in this editor tool. It looks beautifully in some of the email programs that it got sent to, because that little piece of information just got ignored. They said, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to ignore it. Whereas other email programs said, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to give you an error. And that's where you kind of have some problems. It is difficult to make sure that everybody can see it from every kind of computer and every kind of email account and every type of email program that you can use. So by really strictly using this editor tool, that is kind of the safe way to guarantee that consistent delivery. Again, not wanting you to recreate things from scratch, absolutely copy and paste, but be cautious when you're copying and pasting that formatting. Sometimes things are going to come over that just aren't email friendly. A couple of other things that I want to point out as well. You want to make sure that you test your email messages. I always send one of these, like my email template, to myself, make sure that I get it, looks exactly the way I want it before I send it out to members. And that's just a nice sort of standard that I have. It only takes a few minutes, and then it gives me some guarantee of what I'm sending out to members or to, again, other employees, etc. In terms of formatting, again, just the big points, keep your content brief. If you're going to use a table, make sure that you're using a table that's 600 pixels wide or less. Make sure your pictures are sized in 300 pixels or less. And always make sure you have that club logo at the top. That, again, just from a branding standpoint, is really just a standard value. We want to make sure we identify, hey, this is the Halloween update from the club. Don't delete. When we make our changes, we can just save and close. And that's really the step one, formatting our template.